All right, Hector Bravo, how's it going?
What up, dude?
Good to meet you, man.
Likewise, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure, man. I've been seeing you doing, crazy numbers out here. It's been going good for you.
Good, tiring, grinding, man. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what's up, man.
foot on the gas pedal.
Well, can you kind of give them, a quick background on you and, where'd you grow up and, how'd you get into being a correctional officer?
So I was actually born in Hanford, California, which is Central California, but I grew up in Brawley, California, which borders Mexico, down south, dude. Probably as down south as you can go. It borders Arizona and Mexico. My father was a correctional officer. He became a correctional officer in 1993. Before that, he was like a custodial janitor worker for a hospital. That's what kind of gave me the idea to want to become a CO as well. I saw all the COs in the Imperial Valley were making a lot of money, dude, because you had two prisons down there. Calipatria State Prison, Calipat, and Centinela State Prison.
Okay. So it was for the money.
The career.
The
money. And I'm not going to say benefits because as a young kid, I got the light bulb went off probably in junior year in high school or the career day.
And how long were you a correctional officer?
16 years, dude.
Whoa.
1-6. Yeah, I know. That shit seems, it's kind of a long time if you think about it. It went by fast, though.
I worked with a guy who used to be a correctional officer, and he said he had to quit because he was bringing his work home.
Facts.
And it was extremely hard for him to turn it off.
So I was never supposed to quit, man. That wasn't in my cards per se. I believe it was a part of a higher power, right? A higher plan, purpose. My goal was to do my full term, 28 years, and retire at the age of 50. However, I would eventually promote up the ranks from officer to sergeant and then sergeant to lieutenant. And then when at that rank is when I saw a lot of corruption, dude. And it made me start reanalyzing and reconsidering my life choices and if I wanted to partake in the BS. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. So like a lot of people always say, damn, Hector, it took you that long to see the corruption. In all reality, it did take me that long to see the corruption because I've always been the boots on the ground type of dude. I was in the Army before I became a CO. I was a grunt. I was boots on the ground. Being in the trenches, all you can see is the trenches. You're not sitting behind the closed door meetings. You're not seeing what the big wigs are, backdoor deals or shady shit that people are doing behind closed doors.
Okay. Damn.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to just get into some questions. How long ago did you quit working?
I resigned on December 1st, 2022. So approximately 2.5 years ago, coming up on 3 years. At the time, my daughter was 4 years old. She's now 7. And I had 12 years remaining until I can collect a pension at that time.
Okay, I wanted to ask you, lately in prison, they've been trying to integrate
Yes.
general population and the S&Y yards, the PC yards. They're calling it 50-50 yards. What's your thoughts on that?
That's all bad, dude. That's all bad. That actually began in the year 2019-ish. That began like right before COVID. One thing I got to preach to the masses, to the audience, is that at the lower levels, they didn't give us a heads up what we were going to be doing. And when I say the heads up, everybody has to understand that all orders come from headquarters, which is based in Sacramento, California. So you got the big wigs in Sacramento calling all these shots, and we are expected to execute them at all 30 prisons throughout the state of California. That was introduced as the non-designated program. Again, nobody told us what non-designated program was or what it was supposed to be or how we were supposed to make it happen. And in essence, they started busing down GP inmates to put on an SNY yard. So we knew that they were going to fight. We knew that they were going to kill each other. But it's one of those things, hey, man, you had a director at the time. She put it on paper, mix these guys. So as far as us being employees, we have it on paper being told to mix them. We're going to mix them because they've already arrived on a bus. It's not like we could send them back to where they came from. You understand what I mean? They got to be housed there. They traveled throughout the state to be housed there. And when we integrated them, they rioted. They kicked it off.
So it's almost like a setup from the beginning.
It's a 100% setup.
So you were there when this first started, and and the riots immediately kicked off.
I was a lieutenant. I was part of the crisis response team, which is the SWAT team for the prison system. You get all the cool gear, man. You get the helmet, the bulletproof vest, the M4 rifle, the Glock, all kinds of grenades and cool stuff, right? We were on standby, so we knew they were going to riot. We were staged. We were hiding in the visiting room, while Dorm 1 and Dorm 2 at Donovan, the level 1 yard, we were about to mix their enemies. So you had regular officers in the buildings ready for when it kicked off. You had us, the crisis response team, hiding so that when it kicked off, we would respond with overwhelming force. And that's exactly what I was right there. I shot a dude 4 times with 40 millimeter less lethal exact impact rounds, which is the sponge rounds, up the leg. Because he was getting jumped. There was a dude that was getting jumped probably like 7-1. And I was helping the victim by shooting off the other ones. It was a mess, dude. It was messed up.
Why would they do this?
Okay. So you're saying, why would they do this? The knowledge that I have now, all right, there's rich people in place. And I want you to think of above the governor level. I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any means, but you asked me, why would they do this? If somebody up at the top, let's say by the name of George Soros, has a lot of money, and he wants to destroy a certain area, community, prison system, society, all he has to do is pay Gavin Newsom, the governor, a certain amount of money and say, hey, implement this new idea in the prison system, and let's just see what happens. Governor Newsom, all he has to do is appoint a CDCR secretary of his choosing, which he did choose an individual who's been there since I resigned, December 2022. And that guy, all he has to do is be a yes man. That's all he has to do. And when he's a yes man, he passes it down to his troops below him, who are also yes men. And then it gets all the way down to us and we implement it. So what did they sell it to us as? They sold it to us as rehabilitation. They told the inmates, you are expected to get along with your enemies out on the streets. We are expecting you to get along with your enemies in here. Which doesn't make any freaking sense.
What were your thoughts?
I thought it was horseshit. I thought it was a nightmare. I mean, I don't know if I can cuss. I thought it was a nightmare. I thought it was asinine, bro. Like, I have common sense. I would like to think I'm street smart to a degree. I'm good at reading people. And I was very good at my job. You know, not to toot my own horn. I learned how to navigate the land. So I knew who was who, what was what. You can't mix 2 beta fish and expect you not to kill each other.
Okay, now, when this starts going down, I mean, do people immediately start dying?
Well, not immediately. People were getting stabbed and slashed. Yes.
More than normal?
People were getting f***ed up. Okay, there's different levels to violence. Because I had somebody ask me earlier, Hector, is this the most violent that we've seen? 89 murders in 2 years. Is this the most violent that California CDCR has ever been? I said, I don't know. The 70s and the 80s and the 90s had to have been pretty violent. But that was regular gang stuff. Regular gang stuff. This type of violence could have and should have been prevented by officers. And when I say officers, I mean by custody staff, management. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I don't know how else I can explain it without letting the public know that they are literally mixing people on purpose to kill each other and trying to sell it as rehabilitation.
What are the faces of those people that they look like in California State Prison? If we had to put a face on it, what do they look like?
The inmates?
Mm-hmm.
It varies.
Oh, no, the people who are the people that are pulling these strings?
Pulling these strings.
What do they look like?
Yeah.
What do they look like?
Or who are they?
Who are they?
Who are they?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got Jeff McCumber. He's like an older white dude. You got Neil Flood. He's the CCPOA president. So I got to let the public know that the union president is also in bed with the higher ups. Governor Newsom. You already know Newsom's what he looks like. So yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to profile him, but
we have to.
You can see It's funny because I'll post pictures of all three of them together, and I'm like, yeah, they're all three white dudes. Like, you know what I mean?
And who are the individuals that suffer? What do they look like?
Black and brown, for sure. And I'm not the type to push any type of narrative or agenda, right? But I've always known that. I've always known that the maximum numbers on the yards were blacks and Mexicans. For sure. Down south, too. I mean, Sureños, Blood, Crips. I already knew that.
So they started with level 1, level 2.
Yes.
Right? And now, from what I understand, there is no more general population for level 2. That it's all 50-50. So you're either good on a level 3, or if you're on a level 2, it's all bad for you.
So the term 50-50 always confused me because I never knew what a 50-50 yard was. But what I always understood is maybe you'll have a yard with 3 buildings or 5 buildings on the yard, and maybe 3 of the buildings were GP, 2 were S and Y, but they were never to mix. What we are talking about, I do not believe is what you guys think is 50-50. This is mixing everybody.
Right,
there is no
yeah.
50-50.
Well,
it's mixed.
Right. I mean, in
You know
a
what I
not
mean?
so literal sense. You know what I'm saying? Like half the inmates on there are not pedophiles or rapists.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So there might be gang members that, didn't snitch, but, that they might have not ever even did anything that would have got them kicked off a general population yard.
But when they remain there, they are now deemed no good.
Right.
So if they hang out without kicking it off, without causing violence, they're no good, in accordance to their gang. But to answer your question, yes, all level 1s are considered no good. Yes, all level 2s are considered no good. And as of last week, they have began integrating level 3 GPs into non-designated at Kern Valley State Prison. I forgot what yard, Charlie Yard or something, which is crazy. Because if it didn't work on level 1 or level 2, why would you ever implement it on a level 3? And if I know these stupid bastards like I know them, they're going to do it on the level 4. And I don't even got to say what's going to happen on that level 4 yard when they start mixing.
Well, level 3 is pretty bad too, right?
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Level 3 is not nothing to mess around with. But once you get to that level 4, dude, but they're not just hitting each other. They're also hitting the cops, right? Because now it becomes survival. I'm not about to get murdered by 10 of my enemy, so I'm going to hit a cop and get out of here in handcuffs. You won't even get roughed up, not in 2025 anymore. They don't really rough people up anymore in 2025. Not like they used to, from what I've heard.
Well, from what I heard, they're trying to use, Governor Newsom's trying to have the Scandinavian model where you got to ask the prisoner, can you put the handcuffs on them and all of this stuff. Is that true?
So I'll take you guys back to the year 2021, right? I was a lieutenant, dude. At the time, I probably had 15 years in, so I wasn't brand spanking new. I knew my way around. I knew policy and procedure. I know the law. And I was hearing rumors, hey, we're going to do the Norway model here in California. I'm like telling the officers, what the fuck's the Norway model? Well, we're going to copy Norway's prison system, and we're going to become friends with the inmates. We're going to give them high fives. We're going to shake their hands. We're going to give them hugs. We're going to decorate their cells like college dorms. And I'm like, nah, as you're hearing a rumor for the first time, I'm like, nah, I'm not cool with that. I don't think I'm going to hang around much longer, guys. These wheels start spinning, and then I start seeing it's coming to fruition. It's coming to the truth. That was part of the reason why I quit, dude, because I'm not a dummy. I'm not going to get sentenced to my death. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get put in a horrible predicament. So I bounce. I tell everybody, holy shit, the sky's falling. CDCR has turned to hell in a handbasket. They're mixing everybody, playing games with inmates, which resulted in numerous staff assaults. There was a young correctional officer that got his throat slashed from here to here in Corcoran by an inmate in NADSEG who just a couple minutes before they were playing handball with him without handcuffs and NADSEG, which is what you're not supposed to be doing. I came out hooting and hollering that the Norway model was a failure and it was getting people hurt and killed. And believe it or not, they actually discontinued it a couple months ago. But CDCR being pathological liars, they said it was as a result of budget cuts. We are cutting back on the California model and we're no longer doing it.
Damn.
It's all propaganda,
well,
bro.
you know, it also, I mean, cultures are different. You know what I'm saying?
So-
Norway might not be as turned up as California.
So, besides the obvious that Norway doesn't have the gangs, nowhere near what California has. Not even do other states have what California operates on this level. It wasn't never about that, bro. What it was always about a lady, a professor by the name of Bree Williams, who was a professor at UC San Francisco, who started a company called Amend, donated some money to Governor Newsom to implement this program, and again, it got implemented. So they launder money in disguise of rehabilitation, and it jeopardizes everybody's lives.
It's horrible.
Whoa.
Yeah, bro. And if you ask me, I want no freaking part of it. I'm cool. I'd rather be broke. But it also opens up your eyes so you can see how real government works, how government operates, how wars in the Middle East start over money, Ukraine. Once you get a picture of this system, it's easier to identify all the other systems.
What's up? This is Cam Capone. We got more content like this coming soon. So hit that like button, subscribe, and stay locked in to Cam Capone News.